Everybody, it's me, Shaw360. I haven't done a live in a long time, and I'd be surprised if anybody ends up showing up to this live because it's filmed at an awkward time. And also, like the last time I tried to film a live, like no one showed up for like a good 2 or 3 minutes. So I don't know. I don't think my notification's on, or there's something else going on that really prevents me from getting people into my live streams. Oh, hey, hello. I didn't realize people would see me. Hello, guys. Actually, you literally, like, I just started. I haven't even started talking about anything. So thank you for joining, Mason, Alondra, Anthony. Nice to see you. Hey, oh my gosh. Hey, Lupe. I haven't seen everybody in forever. Hello, Nicole. Oh my gosh. There's so many people here. How are you all? Um, so I haven't done a live stream in a minute. I haven't been doing videos really as frequently as usual, but part of that is just because I've been sick, I've been depressed, and there really hasn't been much for me to say. So when you put all those factors together, it leads to a perfect storm of from my absence, but it really has been that there's just been nothing to say, and I was not feeling the best. But I am feeling much better today. Whatever this sinus situation was that has been keeping me down for about a week, it has now cleared up. So I'm really super happy about that because I haven't left my house on the weekends for the last 2 weeks. And I'm not feeling as sad. So great for me. But I'm doing this live stream because I got one really cool thing in the mail that I wanted to show you guys. But also, I wanted to talk to you guys about just general K-pop stuff. I was going to give you guys a chance to ask me some questions, ask me my thoughts and opinions about some things, and also just, address some things that have been on my mind, nagging things that have been in the back of my mind that I just wanted to talk to somebody about. And you're here and I'm here, so we're here. We're going to do this. So let me show you the thing that I got in the mail recently that I'm so happy with, but also disappointed with at the same time. I know, weird emotions to have, but I still want to show it anyway. I got this in the mail. This is my Minho doll. So this is an official SM doll, and I have wanted a character doll for forever. I remember early on when I was first kind of getting into merchandise, I would see people that had these dolls. Well, not this one in particular, honestly, but like dolls for different artists and stuff. And I always wanted one, but you had to either get in on a group order with somebody or buy it secondhand on eBay for really super expensive. So I never thought I was going to own a character doll for SHINee. And I have to give it up to SM. A lot of companies, when they introduce character dolls for their groups, they introduce these like monster dolls. So like BTS has the BT21 line. Taken from 2PM has got his line of dolls that are like these little green things. Monster X has got a line of dolls. Most companies don't give their artists a line of dolls that actually look like the artist. That's usually something that fandoms do. So when I saw this listed on the website at Choice Music for purchase, I immediately had to have it because this is everything I've ever wanted, and it is official. It's got like the official sticker in the back and everything. So yeah, super duper excited. Now I'm gonna open this up. I've already opened it up once, but I'm gonna open it up because I want to show you what I'm disappointed about. So first thing that disappointed me is that when I went to open it, I put a ding in the flap. So I was kind of mad at myself for doing that. And let's see, let's get you out the box here. So he comes with this little stand right here that his legs are in. So his feet are actually at the bottom. I have not taken him out of the stand. Like anytime I've taken him out, I took him out just like this. And you can see he's got on his little outfit here, and I believe this is the outfit from the Countless music video. Correct me if I'm wrong. See, that's what I should have done. I should have used a better knife. Instead, I have like a big thumb dent in the flap. I believe this is the outfit from the Countless video. If this is not the outfit from the Countless video, please let me know. My memory might be skewed because honestly, the looks from the Story of Light era all kind of look similar to me. But when I got this, I put a pin in his jacket. So you can see my pin is right here. And I put the pin in his jacket because without the pin, his jacket kind of flies open. And I've had it pinned now for about 24 hours, so it's kind of staying in place as you're looking at it. But when I first got him, his jacket was flayed open, and you probably can't see, but the edges of the fabric are like raggedy and raw. Hopefully you can see that in the camera. Like, it's not finished at all, which I was very disappointed about that because I feel like with this thing costing what it did, it should have been finished a little bit more professionally. This doll was around, I think, $40, somewhere in the $40 range. So this wasn't the cheapest doll in the world. For that kind of money, I just expect the clothing to be better, especially because I feel like this is the quality of clothing you would see in a fan-made product. So with it being professional SM, probably ordering in large quantities, I just want to see something nicer. The other thing that I haven't really reconciled what I want to do with is on his hand, he's got this little tag right here. And I don't want to rip this tag off, but he's at the perfect size for me to buy him outfits. And I want to buy him outfits and change his clothes, which would require that I take this tag off so I can get the shirt over his hands. So that's the other thing I'm kind of disappointed about, because this doesn't have, there's no zippers or anything here. It's all on there. Hey, Miranda. So yeah, getting it off of him, I would need to take it off of his hands and everything else. So that's why I'm just like, I really want to play with him. I want to do photo shoots, but I can't without taking his little fun tag off. And that's the only serious drawback I see with this. But it is something that I really, really wanted. Hey, Tarian. So the clothes are removable. You just have to take the tag off of his hand and you can slip the clothes down his body. Because I saw somebody else did a video. It was a Lover for K-pop. She got the Taemin version, I believe, and she was like, oh, you can't get the clothes off of his head. No, you have to slide him down the other way. You can take him off of his feet. The problem is I'd have to take this tag off, and I don't want to do that. And these are not the only dolls. I believe that they also did a TVXQ doll, because I saw the Changmin version of the TVXQ doll. Super duper cute. So if you're thinking about it, they've got all 4 of the current living members of SHINee, and they've got the 2 members of TVXQ. I do not believe that they've done an NCT doll. I know they're not doing any of the girl groups as far as I've seen, but they may expand depending on how well these do. So just something to keep in consideration. And they're probably not going to do NCT anytime soon because it's just too many of them, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, adorable. I'm so glad I have this. Another disappointment with this is not necessarily with the doll, it's actually with the order that I placed with Choice Music. So when I bought this doll, I also bought the light stick, the little miniature light stick, because I was going to have my doll holding the little miniature light stick, and it was going to be so adorable. The miniature light stick still has not arrived at Choice Music. I've gotten 3 emails from Choice Music so far, all of them saying the shipment is delayed, the shipment is delayed, the shipment is delayed. I am this close to canceling my order for that light stick and just buying it on eBay because they don't have it. So, oh yeah, I could buy 2, right? I could buy 1 for display and then 1 for play. It's an idea. It's an idea. But yeah, I wanted to get the little light stick because then he could hold his little shiny light stick. It would have been adorable. But it still hasn't come in. So I'm going to give it probably another 2 weeks. If it doesn't show up in the next 2 weeks, or at least out for delivery in the next 2 weeks, I'm probably going to cancel my order and just go on eBay and buy it that way. Because it's been a long time. I'm ready to get what I paid for. So those are things that I had that came in the mail recently that I'm really, really excited about. Stephanie is on the other couch. I'm not going to make her get in front of the camera because she is lounging, but she's watching the R. Kelly documentary, Surviving R. Kelly. And it brings me to something I wanted to talk about kind of in a roundabout manner. So we were talking before she started watching the documentary about how I think R. Kelly did all the things he's being accused of. She has aunts who don't believe it because they're stans. And it reminded me a lot of K-pop and how when you have a favorite, a lot of times if you're a stan, you have one opinion on a matter that varies very wildly from how you'd feel if it was a regular person doing it. And that brings me to the thing that I wanted to talk about today, which is the whole Jungkook dating situation. So Earlier today, I read the various articles about a photograph that was taken as a still picture from closed circuit camera footage of Jungkook with his arms around somebody, back hugging somebody. And then there's another photo of them that's taken from the ground, like somebody was peering around a corner and took a photo of him sitting at a table drinking with somebody. And then there's another photograph that shows several individuals kind of standing around by while one other person is laying down, and that person looks to be having something drawn on their arm or on their shoulder. You can't really tell because this whole section of their body is covered by the people who are standing around. So the story goes like this. Apparently, someone is saying that the CCTV footage is from the inside of a restaurant where Jungkook was going on a group date with his girlfriend, and that the person sitting at the table with him was not a young man with short blonde hair, but a woman with short blonde hair who is a known tattoo artist. She has an Instagram that's full of her pictures. She's got really short, kind of boyish blonde hair, which she just seemed to have cut not too long ago. She's got various lip piercings. She's got a tattoo over one eyebrow. She's got several tattoos on her arm. She's a very distinct looking person. And then they were saying that they were drinking together and that Jungkook was getting a tattoo. Now, it doesn't help that recently there were photographs of BTS at the airport, and when Jungkook was manipulating something in his hand, he had the word ARMY written across his knuckles, and I think he had some other letters and symbols and things on his fingers, which people are thinking that he got hand tattoos. Personally, when I saw the pictures, I was thinking they must be shooting a video or something, because those look like fake tattoos. Like, they're like way too clean, way too vibrant. Like, they look like the peel on tattoos. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, the ones you use like with water and sponge.
Yeah, like you use the water in the sponge and it comes off. So I didn't think that those are real tattoos, but apparently people are under the assumption that he got these tattoos because he's dating this girl who is a tattoo artist. Well, they apparently have come out big hit themselves with a statement saying that that is not his girlfriend. The reports are wildly out of proportion, and that they will proceed with legal action against anyone who's spreading these malicious rumors. But, of course, for me, when I first read the news and everything else, my first reaction was, oh no. And my reaction was, oh no, because for quite a while now, I would say at least for the last year or two, the Korean public has been in love with BTS. And I say the last year or two because when I Need You came out and Run and some of these other songs, the public decently liked the songs, but there was that whole war between, who's the best, EXO, BTS, one the other. And so a lot of people were kind of still on the fence about BTS. But as BTS has been nominated for a Grammy, won Billboard Awards, broken sales records in America, been on the Billboard charts, the Korean public has really embraced BTS as being these global international ambassadors for the country of South Korea. And because of that, their image is massively important. And the Korean public has talked about everything having to do with BTS, from whether or not BTS deserves special exemptions from military enlistment. They've talked about, travel bans, because if you get to a certain age in Korea, you can't travel as often as you would before because you're close to enlistment time. Thank you, Stephen Yoon. But all that is said to say that when it came to BTS, their image is their money. And for Korea, they look at BTS as being these unproblematic, beautiful ambassadors for the country. With RM talking in front of UNICEF and all of these things that they've done, it's really important that they're spotless. And this story has every element that Korea hates. It's an idol dating, the youngest member of the group dating and dating a woman who people consider damaged goods and who's involved in an industry that the Korean public still doesn't embrace, which is tattooing. From what I understand, I don't think that tattoos are illegal in Korea anymore, but they used to be, and you couldn't operate a tattoo salon legally unless you were a doctor. But I think that things have lightened up for that. But yeah, the idea of Jungkook being the youngest, being caught in a dating scandal with a woman who social media presence and who also happens to be covered in tattoos and piercings, this was something out of like a horrible fanfic, and it tossed my stomach in knots because I was just thinking, this is the beginning of the end. Like that really was how.
This is the end.
Okay, Adele.
Hold your breath and count to 10.
She's so stupid. You're so stupid. What a goober. You're such a goober. Anyway,
It's not over.
it to me, it felt that way because this isn't the only issue that has come up during BTS's vacation period. I had someone who sent me a DM on Twitter because someone on Instagram was following Jimin around Paris as he was drinking and having fun. And it was looking pretty bad because he was hanging out with a mixed crowd, but there were a lot of women in this crowd. And it's just one of those deals where we all reach a point in our lives where we get tired of being told what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. We all crave some freedom. Not necessarily, the freedom to, tear off our clothes and run down the street naked, but just freedom to have something for yourself. Have something that's purely yours, that no one else's involvement, judgment, opinions is a part of. And for young men in their 20s, some of them in their late 20s, I can totally see them saying, I've put in the hard work. I've gone years of comeback after comeback. I'm finally having my first real vacation in forever. I would like to start living my life. I think I've put in enough for me to finally live my life and enjoy the fruits of my labor. And I was afraid that this was going to start the backlash against them because, like I said, Korea's hyped them up so much. They've propped them up so much as these perfect poster boys. And for this to happen with Jungkook, for the rumors about Jimin partying in Paris, for Hosik showing up to the airport half naked, we saw what you were doing, quit trying to thirst trap. All of these things can start to make people turn against them. And I personally have a problem with that, and I'll tell you why. BTS are not perfect people, because no one is. And, there have been some things that even RM, who is my bias, has said or done in the past that I personally disagreed with. But one of the things that they promote as a group that is so terribly important to me is the idea in Korean society that you are worth more than the expectations put upon you by your parent, your peer group, society as a whole. That you deserve respect as a person, that you're not a part of the machine, that you are an individual and you're deserving of the rights that every individual born into this world should have from the time that they enter into it. And that's not what everyone is talking about. There are a lot of groups that are definitely giving messages with their music. There's feminist messages that are being told in the music. There's a lot of empowerment messages being there. But BTS is one of the first groups in Korea who the main thrust of what they do as entertainers is to promote self-image and, no, not self-image, but like
Loving yourself.
self-esteem, loving yourself, acknowledging that the world that you're in is not a great world, so you really need to try your best to live your best life. And because of that, I feel like if they're taken down for something that's not actually despicable, it's going to discourage other groups from doing the same thing. And that's what I'm worried about, because K-pop is a genre built on cotton candy and fluff and fun. And, it's hard to have substance in the music that you're releasing because people don't always want to hear that. And that's where my concern is that I want their success to show that you can be a success talking about something real, having a real point, having things to say, that it doesn't always have to be about the throwaway aspect of it all. Now, I'm not saying that the fans that are into BTS now necessarily like them for that reason, because let's be honest, there's a lot of people out there that are hating on it not because they are hating on BTS for ruining their image. They're hating on the fact that Oppa is not going to date them.
Which
Or Oppa,
he was never gonna date you in the
right,
first
girl?
place.
It was never going to be you. Not in a million, billion, trillion, gajillion years. It was never going to be you.
Any alternate universe.
Not
you're gonna
in
be
your
his
YN fantasy world.
No.
Not in any drawing you ever made. Like, it was pure fantasy. It was never going to be. It was never going to be you.
Anna.
Never going to be you. But, yeah, like, that's disheartening. That's disheartening that we have those people there. But we have a lot of those people because of how terribly popular BTS has become. One of the things that I acknowledged early on when I started getting into K-pop, I had about a year or two where K-pop was like Neverland. Like everything good in the world involved K-pop, to the point that I almost thought that Korea itself was perfect. And it took a minute for me to like take off my Stan goggles and see it for what it really is and acknowledge that it is the real world just like every place else is the real world. Once I was able to acknowledge that, I could see where the flaws lie. And I chastised myself for being unrealistic during that time. And I made it a point to continue to keep my eyes open. But K-pop gave me a good couple of years to do that because it was so very different than what I was being fed by the Western media. Even if I would like an artist in the Western media, I was exposed to their interviews showing us ugly side of their personality. I would be exposed to like actually knowing what the lyrics to songs said and knowing like, oh my gosh, this is the nastiest lyric in the world. And I don't know, the shine was gone for a lot of Western pop music for me. And K-pop represented something shiny and unspoiled. And with BTS again, having the global presence that they have, for a lot of people, they look at BTS not as people, but as manifestations of a fantasy. And when you look at something as a manifestation of a fantasy, you don't want to be confronted with the reality that your fantasy doesn't actually exist, that there's nowhere that it could ever actually exist. And I could see them losing a lot of fans if that fantasy is not maintained from international fans who really only want them for the opportunity to be in love with them at a distance. And that's what I wanted to make sure that I put into a conversation, because these are all the thoughts I had circling around in my mind. And there's a lot of young girls involved in this, and I don't blame you for having the fantasies that you have. I remember being a young girl and having fantasies about celebrities all the time. I remember being in high school and thinking if Maxwell would just give me 15 minutes of his time, I know we would get married. I remember being completely in love with JC from NSYNC. I thought me and JC were going to be together forever.
I love you so much, Zayn.
Yeah, I was never a One Directioner because I was grown by then. But like there are people that you feel it for, and I get it. I really get it. But at some point, you grow out of childish things, and when you grow out of childish things, that's when the love actually deepens. That's when the love starts to exist. And so that is the reason why I just wanted to say, I hate that this is happening to him. I hate that this girl is being attacked on social media. I hate that Hashwan, who has nothing to fucking do with this, is being slandered because people are saying, it's not actually Jungkook in the pictures, it's you, and you're posing in these pictures to ruin his reputation. It's like, the fuck did this man do?
What?
He didn't even do anything. He didn't even do anything. Also, why are people assuming that it's Hashwan? Why didn't anybody assume that it was Christian Yu? Because him and Jungkook get confused for each other all the time on social media. So, yeah, I think that it's really hard. And you make a great point, Awkward K-pop Panda. A lot of the time when there's fandom wars and crazy shit being said, even though the idols might be friends in real life, they never say anything to their fans about the high levels of disrespect that are promoted on social media, because there is an unspoken contract between idols and their fans that I feed you the fantasy, you feed me your won, your dollars, whatever currency it is that you're using to buy my shit. Which is the reason why I had critiques for Kang Daniel when it was exposed that he was dating Jihyo from Twice. I had a critique for him because, to be honest with you, I didn't think that Kang Daniel had been an idol long enough. To be honest, completely honest, in the early days of fandom and standing idols and everything else, give your fans a chance to get invested in you. Once your fans have a chance to get invested in you, do what you need to do, love what you need to love, whatever else. But, Kang Daniel was in a really precarious situation when his dating life was exposed. He had just gotten past the lawsuit between him and his former company. He was having his first release on his own label for his debut as a solo artist in K-pop after huge successes with Wanna One. And then he's photographed dating one of the most popular girl group members in Korea. Like, he's dating the leader of Twice. Like, that's huge. It's huge that he's dating the leader of Twice. And for her, it's not as really a big deal because she's been in the industry longer than him. Her group has set a precedent. They're well known. They're established. It almost feels like they've been around for a way longer time than they actually have. He, on the other hand, is just getting over a set of scandals. And for him to get exposed this way is just... It felt like it was too soon. It felt like he didn't have his eye on the prize, that he wasn't concentrating on the main goal at hand. He wasn't giving his fans a chance to get out of one head-reeling situation and get into another. Also, don't forget that right before the whole lawsuit with his company and everything, they were trying to tie Kang Daniel's name to all of the Sungri scandal stuff. So, yeah, it is just like, please, please, please don't do this because it's just too fucking soon. But no, I've never had anything against an idol dating. It's not my thing to regulate.
In my opinion,
I feel like if you really care about...
No one can hear you.
I feel like if you really care about a K-pop idol, you wouldn't spend all that time saying who they can and cannot date, what they can and cannot do. You would just like them regardless. I mean, unless they do something really bad, like, the whole Sungri scandal.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, like, idols, because I am all of 40, I don't look at idols as potential mates anyway. And them dating has nothing to do with me. I want them to be happy. They make me happy, so I want them to be happy. I wish I could see Rain's daughters because I love Rain. And the fact that he's a daddy and he's got a little girl and he's got another little girl coming or who's already been born, I'm not sure, that makes me joyful because I feel like he deserves it after giving me years of happiness. And that's what I want. But I don't know, man. This whole situation just really got me down. It really got me down. And I don't know. I feel like the storm will pass, but I'd like to see how this affects their promotions because their appearance at the airport is part of something that they're doing for promotions. Because I was looking at the photographs. RM's got like a GoPro at the end of a stick. J-Hope's got a GoPro on the shoulder of his backpack, plus he's got a microphone tagged to his shirt. They're filming something. I don't know if they're filming for a movie or if they're filming for another one of their web series, but they're filming for something. And I think that the tattoos that Jungkook had on his hand are a part of MV filming or something else, like I said, that they're doing to film with. I don't know what, but obviously we're getting ready for some new stuff from them. And with that in mind, I would like to see how this is going to affect everything that they're doing. So, sorry. So, yeah, I mean, I know international armies are pretty decent, but you'd be surprised how quick the weather can change. You'd be surprised how quick the weather can change.
Yeah, the girls we saw in the line at that BTS concert, they were some.
I mean, until you're there and you're amongst the crowd, you won't believe it. Like, honestly, I sometimes feel like I live in a vacuum. Like, I know what my opinions are on things and what the opinions are of, like, the girl who lives across the couch from me, but I don't really know the opinions of, like, other fans until I get in the queue. And when I get in the queue with K-pop fans, like, when I was in the queue for BTS, when we saw them in Fort Worth, people are legitimately in love with BTS. Like, it is not a phase. It's not fake. Like, these people literally would, like, if somebody from BTS's management team said, I would like you to come backstage because they were looking for someone to service them, there were several women in the crowd who would be like, take me now.
There was that one girl who's like, I was gonna die if I didn't go to this concert. I was going to actually die.
Yeah, the shit's extreme. So, but I mean, I can't act like I don't have extreme feelings. There's an entire video of me crying all of my tears when Junghyun passed away. And, he's not a member of my family.
But that was justified.
I mean, it's justified, but I'm just saying, like, I know the emotions are real. If I know that I can be in that kind of grief over somebody, then I know that people can be in that kind of love with somebody. It goes every way. It's not just one particular feeling or emotion that's validated. All the feelings and emotions are there. They're all in various degrees, but they're all there. So I'm not saying that your love for different idols is not real. I'm just saying rein in the fantasy aspect of it.
Be real for a second.
Yeah, be realistic about the fantasy aspect. Like, me crying really had to do with the fact that, this was somebody whose life had ended, and I cried for every single thing that he would never be or be able to do, or everything that he'll never be a part of. I cried for the end of his life, not because it ended any fantasy I had for being with Junghyun. So, I mean, it is a little different, but like I said, I had a depth of emotion there for somebody who was not a personal friend of mine, but it felt like one of my best friends had died. And so, if I can feel that way about somebody that I've only ever seen in person twice and that I spent most of my time watching on a screen, then yeah, I can imagine these fangirls who travel the country to follow BTS or who fly across oceans to see BTS feeling these depths of emotions themselves. I know how it is to be so connected with somebody that you're not actually connected with, but you've got to bring in reality into some of this. You really have to. So I just want to make sure I had that conversation. Now we're going to talk about something totally different. We're going to talk about Red Velvet and my crisis of consciousness. Thank you. You're right, Jessica. I love you guys doesn't mean I'm going to marry you. It means, like, thank you for coming and passing me your money. Appreciate you. I'm going to hop into my Jag now that you bought the gas for it.
And I actually have nothing wrong with people just like, yeah, I love you, meaning like, thanks for giving me your money.
I think we need a new word. I think we need to quit saying we love people. I think we need to start saying, like, I appreciate you or something else like that. Because I think it sullies the value of the word love. But we'll get back to that later. I gotta talk to you guys about Red Velvet. So I bought Red Velvet's day 2. And y'all, I just feel like me and Red Velvet, it's not happening. It's not working. I really, really, really like Red Velvet a lot. They are my favorite currently promoting girl group. I have every major release that they have put out here. So I've got from Ice Cream Cake to Day 2. I own a copy of all of them. I have been unhappy with Red Velvet's releases since Summer Magic. And And I haven't said it on my channel. I've said I've been disappointed with things here and there. But I did not mention how disappointed I am with Summer Magic, Really Bad Boy, Day 1, Day 2. And I'm concerned that I'm falling out of love with Red Velvet. And that makes me really sad because I've lost so many of my favorite female groups. It's not even funny. You know, losing 2NE1, losing Tiara, losing Nine Muses, losing Sistar. I mean, I've lost a lot in terms of the females. And SM has pretty much decided that they aren't doing girl groups anymore because they've had these girl trainees since before NCT debuted, and we have not heard hide nor hair of any upcoming debuts for females in the company.
That's really sad.
If you look,
there's a bunch of training.
if you look at the clothing choices for Really Bad Boy, the clothing choices for Day 1, the Cordanunas don't care about the girls at all, obviously. This last effort, they looked a lot better, but then it turns out it was plagiarism of somebody else's idea that I guess SM was too cheap to pay. It is just, I can't say it enough. I'm upset with the choices that SM is making in terms of the music that Red Velvet is releasing. I'm really fucking disappointed that we're not getting any more Velvet from Red Velvet. Like, that is one of my high key points of discontent. I did not like Red Velvet at first. When I heard Hot Penis, I remember thinking to myself, this song is Trizzle's Ash. Hot Penis! So when I first heard that song, not happy. Not happy at all. But then I heard Be Natural, and I'm like, okay, I can get into this. Then Ice Cream Cake came out. Cute song. Automatic came out. Love Automatic to this day. And it kept going like that. Like, I could enjoy the Red. I still think Dum Dum is a genius song, you know, and I like a lot of things from Red Velvet on their Red side. Russian Roulette is a really cute song, but Peekaboo, Bad Boy, One of These Nights, I just really love the Velvet side. And I've heard people say over and over again, the Velvet side doesn't sell. And that's the reason why Red Velvet doesn't do the Velvet side that often. But technically, both Peekaboo and Bad Boy are the Velvet side. And they both sold incredibly well. And I don't think that the Velvet side needs to mean ballad. If that's what you're thinking that Velvet means for Red Velvet, I think you're mistaken. I think that Velvet, more than anything, means darker concept for Red Velvet. Because when you look at the Velvet side and you look at songs like Bad Boy and you look at songs like Peekaboo, Bad Boy did really well in Korea. Bad Boy did really well in Korea, and so did Peekaboo. When you look at those two songs, it is obvious that a darker concept on Red Velvet can work when crafted well. And for that reason, I say, why are we abandoning the Velvet side? Because for me, when we talk about Red versus Velvet, it's the difference between light versus dark, not R&B versus pop. So that's the reason why I say I really would like to know, are we canceling the Velvet side of Red Velvet? Because if we have canceled the Velvet side and we're not ever going to do another dark concept for Red Velvet, let me know now so I can divest myself of the entire procedure. Because that literally is what I live for. I'm one of the few people in the room probably who absolutely adores One of These Nights and the corresponding album. But yeah, I'm very torn because I want to continue to support Red Velvet, but I can't continue to support these songs and albums that feel like throwaways from the SM vault. Like, I listened to the B-sides of Day 1, and it all felt like lesser versions of other songs that they have promoted in the past or have put on B-sides in the past.
Oh, say it with your chest, say it with your chest.
Whereas when I listen to the Perfect Velvet or the Perfect Red Velvet, it doesn't feel like I've heard those songs on every other release that they've done. When they come out with Velvet, it feels like they explore more sonically, even. But I don't know. It's just me. It's just me. But yeah, I think that their last release that I liked front to back was The Perfect Red Velvet. And I feel like Really Bad Boy was a really big miss. I feel like Summer Magic was half cooked. I feel like Day One was a bunch of leftovers. And I feel like the only good song on Day Two was the last song that was written by Sumin, because Sumin is a genius. But I just wanted to make sure that, I talked about it here with people who might be able to understand, because, yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I feel, and I'm so sick and tired of people saying you're not a real fan if you don't like all of the things that they do, or only true fans understand the genius of Zimzalabim. I don't want to hear that bullshit. I don't want to hear that bullshit. And this also speaks to a pattern of neglect when it comes to SM and their women, because we're not getting another OGG project. We're getting sporadic releases from the women on the label. It's all about Taemin, Super M, NCT, EXO solos. It is very little to do with the side that I think the general public likes, to be honest. And this falls in line also with just other problems at SM anyway, because you've got Isuman and his company that SM pays all of their profits to, which that relationship still hasn't been ironed out. And SM's talking about shutting down non-profitable divisions. And I can't help but think that the reason why we haven't gotten a girl group debut is not because SM can't afford a girl group debut. I think it's because SM looks at girl groups as losing investments. And so that's why they don't want to invest in them, where they feel like girls, women who stand boy groups buy more physical albums, pay for concert tickets more often, that in turn that these male groups become bigger profit centers for SM than their female groups do. So yeah, it's sad. I'm really pissed off at Isuman. Yeah, they don't pay dividends. So you guys, I've talked about this on my channel, I feel like. Have I talked about the fact that Isuman is being paid? He has a separate company, which is like kind of a fake company. But he's got a separate company that SM routinely pays tens of millions of dollars to every single year for promoting their artists. This company doesn't write songs. This company doesn't draft concepts. But this company is paid for services. SM hasn't paid a dividend since the minute it went public. Isuman has been accused of tax evasion in the past before. When the stockholders asked SM to stop paying the shell company and start issuing dividends, SM's response was, we're not going to start paying dividends out of the money we give to this company, but we might be able to pay you dividends if we close the Coex Artium, if we close the Star Museum. They're fucking it up, man. They're fucking it up. And I think without it being said, SM is not going to debut a female group because they're considered a less profitable area for them. Fucking SM. Fucking SM. Speaking of SM, I've been asked for my opinions about Super M. I don't have anything against Super M.
Super M. Get it? 'Cause
Yes, I too thought that when you spell it out, it looks like sperm. Super M is a group that, unlike many people, I didn't have very violent feelings against. When I heard about the concept of Super M, I'm like, this is weird, but it's Taemin, and I'm a sucker for SHINee. I'm gonna spend the money. Fuck what you heard. But I remember thinking, this feels like a lot. And it felt like a lot because WayV has had their debut. NCT still isn't on as secure footing as they should be. EXO, they've been doing a lot of solo projects and stuff. And, they haven't really released a full group project this year. So I was thinking to myself, like, this seems like a lot if they're planning on doing another EXO project. Taemin having produced a Korean album and a Japanese album this year seems like a lot for him. NCT has done several projects, and then they're going to have certain popular members do this group. This seems weird. Also, I found it to be very weird when they said, by the way, this group is focused towards the American market, because I don't see where regular irregular proved to be a huge seller in the American market. So I'm not sure why they think that this would be. I think that it shows a blind spot when it comes to SM, because yes, the members that you chose for Super M are the most popular members of their respective groups that are available, but at the same time, they're popular for people who stan SM or stan these groups. They're not known entities in America. And just because they're popular with international fans of K-pop, it doesn't mean that they're going to be super successful in America, because it's not just K-pop fans who are in America or in Europe. It is also people who could give a rat's ass about K-pop. It's full of people who hate K-pop. And even though you've got Monsta X and NCT and ATEEZ and all of these other groups appearing on American morning shows and American late night shows and other venues and showing up on people's YouTube channels, at the end of the day, they're all still looked at as novelty acts. So if you're not careful, you're just going to be wasting the time and the effort of these people on something that's not really going to work. And SM knows that they have a hard time in the American market, because they tried to break SNSD, they tried to break BoA, and it didn't happen either time. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. Like, I don't have anything against Super M, and I actually was kind of half pissed when I kept hearing the fans talking about, oh, I'm not going to support this group because they're doing this, that, and the other instead of supporting my fave. Because it's almost like the people who said this don't realize that, like, you're not hurting SM. You're hurting your fave. Because if this is a failure, SM's not going to look at it as a failure on the part of the company to adequately plan for this group or adequately promote this group. They're going to say, you guys aren't as popular as we thought you were, and you failed at gathering an audience. So for that reason alone, I bought Taemin's copy, because I'm not going to let it seem like he's the reason why this didn't work. Not at all. But yeah, I don't know. I'm so upset with SM. This whole NCT thing. Carolyn Wonhead, she did a video on her channel showing her NCT collection. And the screen was filled with albums. By the time she was done, the screen was filled with albums. And I was looking at that, and I was thinking to myself, that's a lot of material for the few years that NCT has been a thing. And for them to have released that much material in this time and still have the low sales that they have, it's obvious that people don't want this whole Johnny's concept that SM keeps trying to push with NCT. I don't know why they're saying they're not going to support in Korea. I think if the sales don't happen in America, they're going to turn around and support and promote in Korea. Like, I just think it's got to happen. It's got to happen. But yeah, I just look at it and I think to myself, like, NCT is not working. And I don't think that NCT is not working because the members of NCT aren't talented. Far from it. I think that the members of NCT are wildly talented. They're much more talented than the amount of singing time they get on a lot of the songs they release. The issue is, you put a bad taste in people's mouths when you told them that these artists are not permanent. And I said this when we first started talking about it. When NCT was first introduced, before I knew who was with anything, I remember saying, K-pop fans don't invest in a group because of the group. They invest in groups because of the individuals who make up the group. Now, yes, we do tell people, it's either OT5 or nothing, or OT7 and nothing, or OT15 and nothing. But people make personal connections with their bias in a group. They make personal connections with a personality in the group. And the idea that you can fall in love with somebody and then have them pulled out of the group or tossed out of the group, that's not the way fan mentality works in Korea and in the US. It might work in Japan, but that's because precedent has been set there. And SM, I'm sorry, you're not the one who's going to set a rotational precedent in Korea. It's not going to happen. That's not what we want. That's not what we're looking for. It's a terrible idea, and I think they need to rethink the whole thing. Just the idea that the kids from Dream are getting ready to graduate into who knows what or where, I can't even fathom. I cannot even fathom. So I think SM really, they've really lost the plot when it comes to what they're doing with NCT, what they're doing with Super M. Like, there's just a lot that they need to sort the hell out. And they need to talk with somebody who hasn't been a part of SM forever. They need to talk to an outsider, whether it's somebody who does regular promotions in the US or regular promotions throughout Europe, or somebody who regularly promotes in China. They need to talk to somebody outside of their current system who can look them in the eye and tell them, this is where you fucked up, my dude. Because if they don't get that soon, they're going to ruin things for a lot of people. Because if everything was to break up for NCT, I don't think that certain members are going to have a following when they move on. And I'm not going to name any names, but people like Mark and people like Taeyong and people like Johnny and Win and Ten, they're going to do really well. But there's other members who might not fare so well. I often wonder how much of the fandom for NCT will follow Taeil if he decides to leave SM. And for that reason, I just feel like you've got to reevaluate this. Even if it means you have to change the name of these groups, you've got to do something SM, because you're damaging the entire label with your actions. Yeah, I mean, it seems like they didn't put a lot of effort. I don't know. I just think the whole thing has been wildly mishandled, especially when you look at the fact that they don't even follow their own outlay of how the concept was supposed to work. When they first talked about neoculture technology, it was with the mindset that each unit would debut in the country of the member's origin, and there would be a unit for every country. So like when NCT debuted in Japan, you should have never had Mark and Taeyong there. That should have never happened. And the reason why that should have never happened is because the Japanese NCT unit should have been made of Japanese members who live in that area. Because that is the thing with an AKB system. You have a regional theater with regional members who perform for that region, and it doesn't go outside of that. That's not what SM's doing. They took their Korean guys and they threw them at Japan because that's what they were used to doing before. Then they took some more of their Korean guys and they're throwing them at America. Like, they're not doing the thing that they said they were going to do. So that is the reason why I say you're not even following the rules that you set forth in the beginning. So if you're not going to follow those rules, then you better not hold fans to the fire when you talk about we're going to start removing these members from here, because you didn't even follow the guidelines you set forth to begin with. You ready to go to bed? Night night, honey bunny. Don't give me kisses.
I won't.
You good to go to bed. Night night. So, yeah. I just wanted to make sure that I talked about that because I know people were asking about Super M. Like, I'm still buying, obviously. I might even buy the group version, but I have a stone on my chest when it comes to NCT. I have a stone on my chest about SM. Like, I don't know if you could tell, by my rant tonight, but I'm almost to the point where I'm falling out of being an SM stan. I think the only thing that can keep me an SM stan is the fact that SM is the home of SHINee. And as long as Taemin, Key, Onu, and Minho want to promote with SM, I'm going to still support that. But the minute that the members of SHINee leave SM, it is a fucking wrap. You know, I think I've mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. I think that part of the reason why you don't get the Jongyun doll and the reason why Jongyun wasn't part of the membership package for SHINee is not because Jongyun's family won't allow that to happen. I personally believe it's because SM hasn't come to a marketing agreement with Jongyun's family. I think they tried to lowball Jongyun's family in terms of what they were willing to pay to use his likeness to release his material. And the family's like, you know what, fuck it. If you're not going to give us a fair price, you can't use his material. You're going to release this album because you've already told everybody he was working on this album and people know the video exists. But that's the reason why we're not getting more stuff, is because they wanted to lowball Jongyun's family. Otherwise, they probably could have continued to use his likeness. As it is, because of previous management and marketing agreements, they continue to reprint items with Jongyun from past promotions. So like the museum has photo cards from previous albums that they sell as like museum cards. They also have like pens with pictures from Sherlock era and One of One era, but they're not releasing the concert footage of which they took a entire professional film crew to record his inspired and inspiration concerts. They're not releasing that because they haven't come up with a fair marketing contract with Jongyun's family to release that material, because no one's filming a concert with professional photography equipment, you know, big not satellite, but like the big crane cameras and stuff. You don't spend that kind of money just to throw that footage away. That's not what's happening. Have I talked about FX yet? Okay, so I did an entire video about FX, which is on my channel. So if you go to my channel on YouTube and you look at videos that I've released, my last video prior to this one, I believe, was me talking about the FX situation. But at the time that I spoke about it, I did not mention anything about the developments after Amber left. After Amber announced that she wasn't renewing her contract with SM, we also got the news that Luna was not renewing her contract with SM. Victoria was not renewing her contract with SM. The only person who is a current member of FX who is still in contract with SM is Crystal. And Crystal, we don't know exactly when her contract expires, so we don't know what the deadline is for her to decide to re-up with SM. Victoria, unfortunately, when she announced that she was leaving SM, she didn't mention anything about FX in her message, which I found quite sad. I found it very sad that she thanked SM for her time on the label, but didn't thank her group members. I don't know. I found it extremely shady that Sully released a statement on FX's anniversary to acknowledge her 14th anniversary since she debuted in the entertainment industry, which, you know how I feel about Sully, so it is what it is. And then Luna, I kind of felt like Luna didn't get a chance to give her own goodbye because SM comes out and says, oh, Luna's contract is expired, and we're working with Crystal. Like, that was kind of shitty. That was kind of shitty. So, yeah, I mean, you hate to see things devolve the way that they did. And no one's happy. I don't think anyone who is a fan of FX is happy with how things have gone. But at the end of the day, this is just another in the check mark of offenses that SM has committed against their fans. You know, SM just has shown over and over again they just don't care. And it sucks. It really, really sucks. I miss being a company fan. I do. I miss being a company fan. But you know, Amber's coming out with new material. She's with a company called Still Wool, which Haley Kiyoko is on the same label. So you know, maybe we're gonna get some big Dyke energy from Amber finally. And Luna, she's doing things on YouTube. I think she's doing musical stuff. So hopefully we'll see something turn around for her. Victoria is gonna be fine. All that Chinese money is gonna be fine. So things, people, their careers aren't over, which that's the blessing of it all, is that their careers are not over. But there was something very special about FX that I'm going to miss as a person who listened to their music. I remember the first time I heard FX's Electric Shock, and I remember thinking, what the fuck is this? Like, I was so blown away because it wasn't like anything I was used to hearing. And it really made me open my eyes to FX and be like, I need to know more about these girls. I need to know more about this group. And I remember when Luna's Free Somebody came out, and again, like nothing I had ever heard before out of SM or other people of K-pop. Like it was like listening to Kylie Minogue but in Korean. Like it was just like danceable, poppy, like wonderful stuff. And so yeah, I had a real love for FX. And then when they came back with Four Walls after all of the shit with Sully ruining the red light promotions, I was like, here you go, here we go. And for it to just kind of fizzle the way it has, and I know that Luna said that FX is not disbanded, but if I had to give my opinion on that, it's more like saying, you know, no matter what happens, we're still sisters. Like that's the way it felt to me. So until I see some actual promotions, FX is pretty much a done deal in my eyes. But you know, we'll always have the previous releases, so it is what it is. You know, and SNSD, similar thing. I feel the same way about them. I mentioned in my video that I talked about FX, I mentioned that, you know, like SNSD, we had several members leave. SM has claimed that SNSD has not broken up. They still take photographs with each other. They still seem to be very friendly with one another. But at the end of the day, we have not had a full member Girls' Generation release yet. No one's even talking about doing that. And it's the same thing with, you know, any other group. Honestly, like I would like to see, is Infinite gonna come back with Myungsu? Is that gonna happen? I don't believe it will. And so yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like all these groups say, oh well, the group, we're all on different labels, but we're all going to come back together. The only time I can think of that actually has happened is Brown Eyed Girls. They're literally the only group that I have seen where the members did all their solo shit and still made the effort to come back together and do group things. Outside of them, I cannot think of a single other group that has managed it. Not a single other group. So, you know, if I'm wrong, please let me know. But I don't think that that's true. I don't think that that's true. And I think that it's not fair. Yeah, I mean, 2 p.m. They can easily say we're still promoting as 2 p.m. even though Taekhyun's on a different label and entertainment company. You can say that because you have multiple members that are still doing military time. So no one's expecting a 2 p.m. comeback anytime soon. If we were expecting a 2 p.m. comeback, then it'd be like, okay, we'll prove your word. But right now, we're not expecting it. And you know, Shinhwa is a little bit different because Shinhwa, they had a lot of company issues. Like when they left SM, they're on one company, things went shitty with that company, then they tried to do their own company, and a lot of stuff is water under the bridge with Shinhwa, honestly. But with Shinhwa, it was never like I'm leaving the company, but I'm still a part of the group. Like they had company issues, but no one left the company to do their own thing, and then they had to come together for a group. I think everyone was kind of again in different directions and came back. So, that whole we're still brothers. I don't want to hear all that. Even in some groups where people haven't left, you sometimes wonder, like, are you really in the group? I can't remember the kid's name, but there's a Chinese kid who's a member of Pentagon. I don't follow Pentagon like that, so that's why I am allowed to forget this child's name. But there's the one Chinese member of Pentagon who hasn't promoted with them, I think, in the last 2 comebacks. Still a member of Pentagon, Yanin, okay? Still a member of Pentagon, but health issues. My ankle hurts, depressive issues, episodes, whatever. But he's also seen at the same time while Pentagon is promoting their recent comeback, he's promoting on Chinese television. So, yeah. Another example, exactly. Keebum from Super Junior is like, yeah, I don't promote with Super Junior, but I'm not going to say that I'm not a part of the group anymore until my contract ends with SM. So that's why I say, like, there's a lot of subterfuge that's put into the conversation because all of these people know that your reputation is everything. And that is the reason why they're not going to come on Instagram or Twitter or in a news interview and say, I've left the company, I've left the group, I don't want anything to do with these guys anymore, because they don't want people to hate them. And I get it. But at the same time, it's very frustrating as a fan because when you say nothing, there's naive fans born every day who don't realize that you're just not saying what's really happening. And I think that sucks. I think that really sucks. I was asked about X1, and there was something else I was going to talk. Oh, yeah, okay. So I'll talk about X1 briefly because, it needs to be talked about anyway. Produce is a scam. We've all known it was a scam. We've all assumed that there was some manipulation. The fact that there were so many super popular Japanese trainees with the 3rd season of Produce, and that those super popular trainees didn't make it into the group. The fact that Samuel was doing so incredibly well on Produce during season 2, but he didn't make it into the final group. Obviously, there were some politics and some manipulations done behind the scenes. What really grinds my gear and gets my goat and makes me pissed off is it wouldn't have made sense to reorganize the group based on public outcry of, oh, this person should have been in this group, so we're going to toss out this other person that we don't know and throw this person in. That wouldn't have benefited anybody because, again, like I said, respectability and public image is a big part of being able to promote in Korea, and nobody wants to have acknowledgement of wrongdoing being a part of their public image, and nobody wants to stoke the fires or keep from being able to have favorable relations with Mnet, so they're not going to throw Mnet under the bus. So there was never going to be a change in the lineup. I never believed that there was going to be a change in the lineup. But the police are investigating about these irregularities in voting. And I'm really glad it's happening because if nothing else, if there is a future season of Produce, they will need to be more transparent in the way that they do things, and we have more of a chance of getting a group that actually reflects what it is that the public wants to see. All right, so that part of the voting, I've addressed that. There you go. What I'm really frustrated with right now is the fact that advertisers don't want to fuck with X1. That really pisses me off. I get the fact that people don't want to be involved with scandalous entities. There's a lot of people who don't want to touch YG artists right now because of the scandal. However, X1 is not Mnet. Yes, they are sponsored by Mnet, but they are not Mnet. These boys have fans. I personally love Johan and Sungwoo, and Hangyul starting to get into my soft spots a little bit. Sungyoon, I really like him in terms of his singing talent. Like, I have a lot of things to love about this current lineup, and because of that, I don't think that those boys deserve to be punished because somebody at Mnet called in an audible. Because I don't believe that those boys caused that to happen. I don't think that they paid Mnet to make these be the results of what happened. So to not support them with CF money seems ludicrous to me, especially when you look at them having like the highest first week sales of any debut group in Korea. Like, that in and of itself says that there's money to be made because fans are spending the money on the debut. And if they didn't like this group or they felt like this group was full of frauds and they don't want to support it, they're not going to spend the money on the debut. They spent the money on the debut. I think they sold like almost 500,000 units in the first week. Like, that's a lot of buying power. And they only had 2 different covers. It wasn't like they had 15 different covers. So with that being said, I don't understand why these advertising companies won't support the group. I can get why you wouldn't want to support Mnet, but why won't you support the group? Like, that really fucking pisses me off. That really pisses me off. So that's how I feel about that. But I think that eventually advertisers are going to get their heads off their ass and they're going to start supporting these boys because all it takes is one more release. One more release from X1, and if they get a song that they need, it's going to be over. It's going to be game over. Like, they're going to have to acknowledge that they push weight and they sell product. I will be honest with you, wasn't the most impressed with Flash. I thought Flash was a good song, but to me it was a B-side. It wasn't energetic at all. At all. But I mean, it wasn't Dream Girl either, so I guess we can all be glad for something. So yeah, that's my take on the X1 thing. Now, I was asked to speak about Queendom, which I was going to speak about anyway because Queendom. I love Queendom. I really, really do. I don't get what the hell the point of the show is, honestly. Like, to have them all have comebacks at the same time, but only one of them is going to get a comeback show. And if you lose twice in a row, you're off. Get out of here. Get out of here. The premise is stupid. Like, the way that they set up the premise is stupid. But I love the performance aspect of the show. I love showing the prep for these groups. I love the fact that this show is breathing new life into AOA. I love the fact that we're seeing Park Bom show her personality and, you know, giving that to the audience. Like, I'm really loving these things. I love the fact that I never knew how quirky Oh My Girl was just as individuals. Like, Oh My Girl, they have some nut cases in their group, and I stand. There's one girl in particular, do not know her name, but I swear every time they show her face, she is a literal reaction gif. Like, she's always like, oh, ooh, girl, ooh. Like, her face, oh my gosh, her face. I love her face. There's literally only one girl in Lovelyz who's worth paying attention to, and that's the Runway Queen. But yeah, there's one girl in Oh My Girl who, like, every time I see her, she's got kind of sandy blonde hair, but her skin's just a little bit darker maybe. Every time I see her, I'm like, that girl right there, she needs to be gift. Like, she's so funny. And, like, every time they ask her a question or she's put in a situation that's, like, awkward or stunning, it all reads on her face. Like, she cannot hide her emotions for nothing. And I adore it. I think it's perfect and wonderful. I need her to do more variety. I need her to get some endorsements. Also, Yua from Oh My Girl is probably one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen on TV. Like, she looks like a porcelain doll. She is gorgeous. Oh my gosh, she's gorgeous. She needs to be acting. She's wasting her time trying to sing. She needs to be acting. But yeah, Miju, the Runway Queen from Lovelyz. So yeah, I just I have really enjoyed finding reasons to like certain people that I didn't have any other reason to check for them before. Because I had given up Oh My Girl a long time ago. I gave up Oh My Girl after Windy Day. So, yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of reason not to follow Oh My Girl, and I'm just glad to get to know them again. I knew there was something about them that I loved. So I'm going to give you a rundown of my opinions of all of the groups and the performances I've seen thus far, because we have only gotten half of the performances for week 2. Or I don't, is it week 2? I don't know how they're doing this. Episode 4, which is the other half of the cover performances, hasn't happened yet. So, there you go. So, week 1, everybody's introduced to each other, and they try to have a little fun with a game where they could get penalties, but of course, you're a girl group, you can't have a bad reputation, so of course, nobody ends up getting the penalty. So, they start to perform. Mamamoo performs, and Mamamoo does their Mamamoo thing. We all enjoy. I don't particularly like Dal Komane. That's not one of my favorite Mamamoo songs, but you know, it is what it is. And they did the thing that they do when they get on stage. Then I think second was Park Bom, and she did You and I. I love Park Bom. Her voice sounded rough. You could tell that she had been concerned the entire time about the condition of her voice, and it was very obvious when she was singing that there's just certain notes that are going to escape her. There's certain vocal performances that she's just not capable of doing anymore. And part of it is because YG never cared to invest in a vocal trainer who would preserve her voice rather than wreck her voice. Then I want to say that the next performance after that was... Who was the next performance after that? I think it might have been Oh My Girl who performed next after that. Oh My Girl decided to do a dark costumed version of Secret Garden. Like, it didn't feel like the concept was dark. It just seemed like they had on dark colored costumes. And so they went out and they performed, and I thought it was cute, but I definitely agreed with one of the members. I think it was one of the members of Mamamoo who's like, this feels like Christmas. Their performance very much reminded me of a Christmas pageant. And I don't think that it showed necessarily something different. No. Lovelyz, they performed At You. And I'll talk about Lovelyz in a minute, but I'm talking about Oh My Girl doing Secret Garden. Oh My Girl did Secret Garden, and they had on like black and white outfits. I remember that distinctly because Benny had on like a white shirt with a black kind of corset and shorter skirt type of setup going on. So yes, I remember them very well. They had on darker outfits. So they did Secret Garden, and even though they had on darker colored outfits, they sounded very Christmas. And so it wasn't really a very big departure from what we've seen from them in the past. Then we had Lovelyz perform, and Lovelyz did At You. And I remember in the group chat I had with my friends that I watched Produce with, I'm like, who did this? Who did this to Lovelyz? First of all, Lovelyz, outside of the one Runway Queen member, there wasn't a lot of personality being displayed for the group. There's another group that suffers from the same fate. And so I'm like, okay, well, this performance, they're going to tear it up because they want to show us a new side. And I know that Lovelyz can sing because I have heard Lovelyz harmonize a cappella before. I know they can sing. So I'm thinking, okay, you're going to give us something different, something new. Do it, girl. Give it to us. They did At You, and it literally sounded the way it has always sounded. Like, the backing track was a little bit different. I think they slowed it down a little bit, and they wore darker costumes, but it was the same lame performance. Even the choreography was the same, and it was so disconcerting to me because they're performing At You in these short black shorts with these crop tops and these, men's sport coat jackets, but they're doing the cute little kick flip and everything, and it's like, first of all, who decided that this is how you're going to be different by wearing dark clothes instead of your like pastel cute schoolgirl clothes? Secondly, y'all are literally all wearing the same thing. And I'm sorry, but K-pop 2019, are we still all wearing the same clothes? Like literally, they all had on crop tops, little shorts, men's jacket, and these like neck slash belly chain things on. It was, it was a, it was a bad time. It was a bad time to be had, and that's why they came in last because the performance was weak. Sorry, sorry. Next we had sorry, I almost got them mixed up. I was gonna say AOA, but not AOA. We had G Idol. I kind of wish that G Idol didn't do this show. Not because they gave a bad performance, but because this show made me really dislike Sohyun from G Idol. Like her being on there and being like, so we're gonna do this and you're gonna do that and I'm gonna do this and we're gonna do this and da 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 da. Like it was very obvious that this was like a Hyuna and the background dancers type of situation when it comes to G Idol, and I hate that for them because they've got some very interesting vocals in that group, but no one's personality was given an opportunity to shine that much. It was all about her, and even in the performance was good. I think she comes up with great ideas in terms of like doing like the whole gibberish witchcrafty thing to remix La Ta Ta. But if you looked at them, like just looking at them without them uttering a word, if you looked at the group, it is obvious who the center of attraction is. Every other girl except for one has dark colored hair. Every other girl except for one has their torso exposed. It is very obvious who the star is. And it sucks because as somebody who lived through the trauma of the breakup of 4 Minute, it just brings back really salty bad memories for me. So I was not happy that that was the way things went down for them. And I think it's going to continue to go down that way for them. And that sucks. But they did give a great performance. I'm not going to knock their performance skills. I give credit where credit is due. It was a really well done stage production for them. But I hate that it seems like it's all about one member and the rest of them are just along for the ride. And then the last performance was AOA. AOA did Miniskirt, which everyone was very concerned because this was the first time AOA was performing without two of their members. So Choa left the group a while back, and they don't even talk about the one girl who left the group way back in the very beginning, like right after Elvis, I think. I think she was just a member of AOA Black, and then like she never promoted again. And then they had one other member that left. I think was it Mina who left AOA? Yeah. So they had 5 members, and this show, if it doesn't accomplish anything else for anybody on the show, this show is AOA's comeback. Because number one, watching them practice, they were so awesome, like in practice. Like you could tell that like they really, the people who are still in the group really get along with each other. They listened to each other. It was very playful, and they seemed like they missed promoting with each other. And that was the reason why I was like, this is a good thing for them, because it reminds the public why you liked AOA in the first place. And then also through both of their stage performances, it lets you know you haven't heard everything from this group. Just because Mina is gone and just because Choa is gone, it doesn't mean that this group doesn't have anything left to give you. A lot of people have underestimated Sohyun's vocals. They look at her as just a visual, but she was giving you vocals as well. Their miniskirt performance was really good. But what was even better was their egotistic performance. So the first show was them performing like one of their big hits, which if I was Mamamoo, Dao Kamane wouldn't have been the hit I would have performed. But of course AOA does Miniskirt because, you know, it was a big hit. I think it was the one that really like popped them in Korea. So the next show, you have to do a cover of another group's performance or another group's song. So AOA and Mamamoo got each other. They had to do each other's song. Mamamoo does the most awful rendition of Good Luck I have ever heard. I'm sorry. I like Mamamoo. But that performance was so incredibly disjointed. The moment that they stepped on stage, I remember thinking, where the hell are they going? What is the concept here? You've got one person dressed like they're about to hang out on the block and shoot dice. You've got another person dressed like showgirls. You got another person dressed like lounge lizard Laura Croft. And then you got another person cross-dressing. Like, I don't know what they were doing. And then they start to perform, and everyone gets like a segment of the song, and they perform it in whatever style that they're doing. When I first heard Hwasa's section, I'm like, okay, I can really see like doing like a reggae version of Good Luck. Like, I could see that happening. Then we get to Moonbyul's section, and they're not using the same lyrics. I can't tell if the backing track is similar. She's got men on leashes looking like she's ready to peg everybody. Like, I definitely big strap on energy, but nothing to do with the Good Luck song. Then they get to Solar, who has got on this burlesque jumpsuity thing, like spangled corset with a huge red bow on her head, which literally was only there so she could rip it off and throw it into the audience. Then they show Wien, and she's again Laura Crofting her way through lounge singing. Like, she's got on this red one-piece haltered, I have no idea what the fuck it is. She's got on fishnets, and then she's got on like a utility fanny pack. What? Then they come together, and it seems like the song changes some more when they're finally all singing together. The stage looks super fucking messy. Like, it was just, I didn't like it. I thought, and also I was actually really upset about one particular detail. When AOA sent a video to Mamamoo before they did their performance, they said, we would really like it if you concentrate on the key dance. And the key dance for the song is like this, like, kind of swoopy thumbs up thing. And they're like, we're going to do something similar to that. We're going to toss a coin in the air and catch it. That's not similar at all. It's not similar at all. And so I was very it felt a little bit disrespectful. It felt a little bit like Mamamoo's like, we got the show in the bag. We don't need to take advice from AOA. We do what we want because people love Mamamoo. And I don't know. I just think that they could have done a better stage than what they did. It just came across as very sloppy, very unrehearsed, very last minute. AOA, on the other hand, has nothing but time on their hands. And they were like, we're going to do Mamamoo's Egoist, and we're going to knock it completely out of the park. And bitch, did they ever. First of all, every single member of AOA looked gorgeous in their menswear inspired suits. It kind of reminded me of that one part of the SNSD video for Mr. Mister where they had on like the hats and the men's suits. They should have done more of that for the video, by the way. They really, really should have. But they had these beautifully fitted suits on. Some of them had 3-piece suits. Some of them had like just the 2-piece. They looked everybody looked so tall and so lean, and their hair was like slicked back really nicely. And then they start singing, and Mamamoo is a group that's known for vocals. So it was so smart for AOA to have switched places with Mamamoo, because they had to go out there and sing. And by singing, they're proving to the public we haven't lost anything vocal-wise. If we can pull off a Mamamoo song, that'll let you know we are still singing up in this bitch. So they're out there, they're singing. They look amazing. Like, they just look like a dream. They're so pretty. Then they bring out the men. I'm going to say men because this is just the way I read the stage. Men dressed in feminine costumes. So you have men, drag queens maybe, that come out with like their hair done in very feminine styles, makeup on their faces, wearing like the short, tight outfits that you would expect a female idol to be wearing. You've got AOA covered basically head to toe, while these men are showing off all the skin and hanging off of AOA the way you would expect female background dancers to hang off of a male idol having a stage. And it was so cool, because it definitely put the lyrics into sharp focus, but it also flipped the narrative on its head of AOA being this group created for the male gaze, and they're turning it around and they're kind of objectifying the men on stage with them, and they're the ones who are fitting into what you'd expect to be desired from the male gaze. And so, and I mean gaze like Gaze, not Gays, just to clarify. So I thought it was very clever. I thought they did a great job with the stage. It was so good. And yeah, this is going to be their comeback, and I could not be more pleased with it. I just, bravo, bravo, madam, bravo. And then lastly to perform was Park Bom doing Han. Park Bom met up with the members of G Idol before she did her song, and she was so cute. She like, I'm gonna decorate the room so it's like a party. So she puts banners up that say, you know, welcome G Idol, and she has a table full of food. Tell me why when G Idol shows up, they bring her a bouquet of corn on the cobs. I get it. If you've watched 21 TV, you know Bomb loves sweet corn, but it was just kind of like, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Like, they've been doing a lot with this show to kind of try to remind the public of why you loved Bomb. And so, yeah, it was just like, okay, it's a callback, but seriously. And Bomb ate the corn. Like, after they showed the bouquet, everybody sitting at the table, Bomb has got her corn out and she is eating. But yeah, she is gonna do Han by G Idol, which, I mean, is the perfect song to choose. Like, you know, they've already done La Ta Ta, so she can't do La Ta Ta, but if you're gonna do the next best song, why wouldn't you do Han? You know, because you can't do the KDA All-Star song. She is practicing the song, and her dance teacher is so funny. She's like, yeah, that was pretty good, but it was still really fucking awful. Let's try it again. That was so funny. Bomb gets on stage and she does Han. And for a person performing the song by herself, she does a passable job of it. But it is still very lacking in terms of like stage placement. I thought her costume was everything, and her makeup, it was the best makeup I've seen Bomb wear since she came back. Like, honestly, that makeup she needs to keep and wear it all the time. It was perfect. But the stage still felt a little bit stiff. Bomb still seems like she's trying to get used to working the stage again, even though she definitely had more confidence with this stage than she's had in any other stage I've seen since she began her redemption tour. Cheetah came out and rapped. It wasn't great, but it doesn't really matter because Cheetah was there to intimidate G Idol. Because G Idol had asked, well, who are you going to get to do the rap? She's like, it's a surprise, it's a secret. Cheetah is the rap instructor for Soyeon from G Idol. So it's kind of like, bitch, I'm bringing your teacher out here to show you how it's done, which I thought that was kind of cute. It was kind of funny. And then in the last end of the song, Bomb did her rendition of the swan pose, which was, again, like the dance instructor said, it was awful. But she tried. And it was just nice to see Bomb looking like she was having fun. Like, if nothing else, even if the performance wasn't her most solid performance ever, she looked like she really enjoyed being on stage. And more than that, I feel like this is again a part of recuperating Bomb's public image, because the public still treats her very, very mean. They still have really shitty stuff to say about her. But she's kind of showing that she's very vulnerable. And I think a lot of people have forgotten what it's like to lose everything that you've been working for years and having to kind of start over from scratch. And we're exposed to Bomb's loneliness and her wish to have more friends and allies. You know, like every time somebody says something nice to her, her response is, let's be friends, let's trade phone numbers. You know, even Cheetah, like you could tell that all of the women on the show have respect for Bomb. When Bomb started singing You and I on the first episode, all of the groups were like, this reminds me of middle school. This reminds me of being a child. I've loved this song forever. Everyone was mouthing a lot in the lyrics. Everyone has mad respect for Bomb. And with that being said, like, they all want to see her do well. So Mamamoo had nothing but nice things to say to her. So Bomb's like, we should be friends. Let's exchange phone numbers. Cheetah, Bomb was like, thank you for showing up for the stage. And Cheetah was like, don't worry about it, just take me out to a meal. And Bomb's like, can we be friends? Like, it was just really nice to see her kind of gain back the things that she lost due to YG's manipulations. And I was telling the people in my group chat that, I feel like this is what she deserves, and that even her having this comeback was a well-crafted redemption arc that was probably, to be honest, probably paid for behind the scenes by YG. Because the person who owns D Nation, no one had really ever heard of this person before they signed Bomb to this record label. Apparently this is like a college friend or a high school friend, somebody who's known her for a long time that started this. But like, the fact that they were able to come out of the gate and get her on television music shows, the fact that they were able to get her 2 physical releases right off the bat, like, her company is doing for her so much more than Minji's company did for her. And I can't help but think that maybe YG told Bomb, I can't put you back on YG. Like, that just won't work. It can never happen. But I can give you a fresh start, and I can surround you with people who care about you. And what few connections I have left, I'm going to use to get you some of what I took from you. And I think this is a part, again, of their kind of trying to change the narrative around Park Bom, trying to humanize Park Bom, and basically let people see, like, you liked her for a reason. She has value. Don't hold her past discretions over her head forever. Give her a chance. And, we can only hope that the Korean public does that they give her a second chance, so that maybe one day we can see all 4 members of 2NE1 performing together again. But yeah, like, you can tell from the way that her managers speak to her that no one at D Nation is bossing Park Bom around. She basically is being guided with loving, friendly hands. And you can say that. I understand, Top Mover, that you disagree with what I'm saying about YG, but I'm going to put it to you this way, because I've talked about this before in Shadow 360's Tin Hat Theories. Park Bom's drug scandal didn't come out of nowhere. At the time that Park Bom's drug scandal came out, it was also during the time that President Park Geun-hye was, Park Geun-hye, right? I might be saying it wrong, let me know, was in turmoil behind the Sewol Ferry stuff. Also, shortly after Park Bom's drug scandal, it was shown that, like, there were a lot of government contracts that were favorable towards YG during the previous president's regime. And so I think when Park Bom's drug scandal came out, it was because YG's like, okay, I can throw some of the publicity off of the current president by throwing Park Bom out there. And all the times after Park Bom was not signed to YG, that she was having these Instagram lives and talking about, you're going to have to ask my producer about what I'm doing with my career. Everybody's like, Park Bom has lost it. She's totally lost it. She keeps referring to YG like she's still signed to YG. I don't think that Park Bom was crazy. I don't think she was crazy. She might have been going through it, but I don't think she was crazy. I do think that somewhere in the background, Park Bom's like, okay, you have thrown me under the bus to take this big rap for you. I'm sacrificing a lot. You need to make plans to help me get back where I need to be, or else I am pointing investigators to every single area where the bodies are buried. Because you don't get to the upper ranks of YG without knowing some things about the operation. And I am absolutely convinced that if the police wanted to put enough pressure on Park Bom, she would tell you where it is that their artists go when they want to pass drug tests. She would give you all of the scoop if you just want to get down to it. So YG probably said, you know what? I will hook you up. I can't do it today, but somewhere down the road, I'm going to hook you up. So I think that's what this is. And I think that maybe it's not to the extreme, like he's going to continue to finance her forever, but probably he gave a startup grant to D Nation to get them going to help out Park Bom. And probably a couple of producers at YG who felt bad for Park Bom probably called in favors at Mnet and KBS and SBS and were like, hey, do you think you can get her a slot on the music show? I really do believe that's what happened. And so it may not be YG doing everything, but I definitely believe that some higher ups at YG are the people that are helping get this thing going for Park Bomb, because it just makes no sense that a no-name company with no other artist currently, in the past, and probably in the future would have enough clout in the industry to get her 2 physical releases, get her on music shows, and get her on this big queendom program. I just don't see it unless you can explain it to me in a way that makes sense. Um, Someone asked me to talk about Hanbin being investigated for the drug thing. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I talked about that situation in another video on my channel, and I said that when you read, no, it wasn't even on my channel. I talked about it on Mason's channel. When you read the transcript of the Kakao Talk messages, it is very obvious that the dialogue between him and the girl who kind of exposed this, they've had smoke out sessions before. Like, she was kind of the YG weed hookup. And so after YG kind of was like, we can't fuck with that guy no more because he's bringing bad press on us, I'm sure that Hanbin is like, you know what? I've lost my group. I've lost my label. I'm sure that you're going to be able to find evidence that I did these things. So rather than me not admitting to this stuff, let me just go ahead and tell you the truth, because I don't have a single thing to lose at this point. And he's right. He doesn't have a single thing to lose. All he could do is win from here on out. There's nothing left to lose. There's nothing left to lose. He's pretty much lost everything that Korea deems as valuable for his life. He's lost his record contract. He's lost his reputation. He's lost his group. He's lost all of his commercial endorsements. So what do you have left but your integrity? And your integrity is telling the truth. So I'm not surprised that he acknowledged that he smoked marijuana, because yeah, there's no reason why you shouldn't. There's no reason why you shouldn't. But I feel bad that, at the end of the day, especially with how slow certain things are moving, this is all for naught. This is all for naught. The only thing that I can see that's truly going to debilitate YG at this point is having to pay back Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, LVMH. They're going to have to pay back the entire, I believe it's $55 million investment they got from Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. And YG is facing a close to $5 million tax bill, $5 or $6 million tax bill. Losing money is going to hurt. But the rest of this stuff, they're going to end up buying their way out of it. They're going to end up, rich people, wealthy people, they really don't do that much time in jail. Hell, Korea has a celebrity who became a celebrity for running over somebody with his car and trying to get rid of the body. Like, if that doesn't say how Korea deems their celebrities, I don't know what does. So yeah, this is not going to hurt them, but it will hurt them financially. Have to give back this investment from Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. That's going to actually hurt. So yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. It's kind of where we are. And the whole Sungri thing, I mean, there was a lot of noise, but I don't think anything's going to happen. All right, so I think I've addressed most things that people have asked me my opinions about this evening. We are going on an hour 43, so I gave you a pretty good live stream. Oh, they are bringing people out of the dungeon. Akdong Musician is getting a comeback. It's already been announced. Ehai will probably get something in 2020. I don't think they're going to give her anything for the rest of this year, but she may get something next year. Treasure 13 has been postponed, but probably if things continue to go the way that they do, they're going to have to come out with something. And one has left YG, which it's about fucking time. He should have done that light years ago. Blackpink is going to have to come out with something, but again, I don't know if he's going to hold them hostage the way that he's held Treasure 13 hostage, but they're going to have to come out with something at the beginning of next year, because it's been a little bit too long since Kill This Love came out, and I don't think Kill This Love did as well as YG and company had anticipated it would do. And Somi, girl, somebody at YG has got to get their head out their ass and convince you to join this IOI reunion. They have to do it. At this point, the girls from IOI might not want you there simply because you are carrying that YG stank with you, but you need them. So swallow your pride, get your dad to quit being a jerk, and you need to join. You need to join because this is an opportunity that you cannot afford to throw away. Hell, Chunga, of all people, has absolutely no fucking reason to ever do anything with IOI again. Because really and truly, people weren't thinking that she was going to be who she turned out to be. But she recognizes that she couldn't have been where she was without IOI. And if she can humble herself after doing so well publicly with her career and make it to the reunion, what excuse do you have? Because Birthday was not that great. It did not perform nearly well enough to justify you not having time for an IOI reunion. So, yeah, I think that you just need to go ahead and clarify what the reality of the situation is and find a way to waltz yourself back into IOI. Yeah, Somi Somi is somebody who really needs a group. Like I really and truly believe that in the context of a group, Somi is wonderful. But some people are just group people. Like they really are. A perfect example to me of a group person, in my humble opinion, is Soyu from Sistar. Soyu from Sistar has a lovely voice. If you haven't heard Soyu and Rain's new music video, that is an advertisement for Pepsi, you need to listen to it. Rain sounds amazing. He sounds like the world's hottest coffee shop. Soyu sounds really amazing as well. Soyu is not a solo. She is a duet slash group singer. It is just her lot in life. People can't help what it is. It is what it is. But she's talented. She's worthy. She deserves fans. She deserves popularity. But it needs to be in the context of either a duet or a group. She's just not great solo. And Starship is realizing that painfully, obviously, now. But yeah, like Somi is one of those people that in the midst of a group, even a small group, like if someone is part of a 4 or 5 piece, in the midst of a group, she would be amazing. I could even see her being the leader of a group because she would carry them on variety. But by herself, there's just something missing. Even when you watch her stages for Birthday, it's very clear that she's not comfortable taking the lead for an entire song. She's good taking a little bit of the lead and then maybe hauling back, but like her endurance doesn't even seem like it's up for her to be a solo. So yeah, I just feel like maybe we've made some bad decisions here. Maybe we could have done better. But yeah, I was gonna get off of here. You guys have conned me into talking about Somi when I really did not feel like it. GD's getting out of the military very, very soon. Um, I I'm anxious. I'm anxious. I mean, thank you. I'm so anxious. I'm so anxious. I feel like genuine. I'm so anxious. But seriously, GD's getting out of the military soon. Top is already out. Um, Thank you. Top has already gotten out, and it won't be long before we have the other remaining members of Big Bang out. So Taeyang and Daesung won't be far behind, and I'm really, really worried. I'm really, really worried. I'm worried for them as individuals, though. I can give a fuck about YG. I can give a fuck about Sungri and his role in Big Bang. I worry about the individuals because I care about them. Regardless of everything that's kind of gone on, I care about them. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Thank you all so much again. I really appreciate you. And I hope that I won't have as long a vacation between uploads now, but you know, it is what it is. I'm feeling better, so I think I'll do more, but I just wasn't feeling great before. And I explained that at the beginning of the broadcast. So thank you so much. And if you go, I hate to say this, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you go to my community tab on my YouTube channel, I talked briefly about the fact that I have turned on well, not even briefly, I talked extensively about the fact that I have turned on monetization for certain videos on my channel. I also put a link to my coffee if you'd like to contribute, but I went very I, I did a very lengthy post about why I felt the necessity to do so. And I thank you all for watching this live because it means to me that you don't fault me for making the decision that I made, and that means the world to me that I have your support. So thank you so, so much, and I will talk to you later. Bye.